Stone City, the small Jones County town that will come alive on Sunday with the annual Grantwood Art Festival.
Tonight we're continuing our Celebrate Iowa series with a preview of that festival.
We'll tell you what's in store if you come out for the festival on Sunday. We'll also learn about the fascinating history of this shell of a building behind us, which used to be the mansion here at Stone City. And we'll hear about it from Iowa's most famous poet and former mansion resident, Paul Engel.
We'll have more on all of that, but first a look at the day's news. Pete?
Our top story tonight involves an undercover investigation Channel 2 News conducted into XXX videos. Maggie Jensen had been looking into the laws regarding XXX rentals in preparation for a story when today Lynn County attorney announced he had confiscated 2 such videos from Cedar Rapids stores. We have a team report tonight beginning with Amy Johnson.
Lynn County Attorney Denver Dillard says this is the first time the pornography code as it relates to XXX rated videotapes has been applied in Lynn County. Yesterday, he says a DCI agent confiscated 2 XXX tapes from 2 area stores, both of which violate a section of the state obscenity law. Dillard says one of the videos was confiscated from this store, 2565 Book and Video on West Post Road and 16th Avenue. The other videotape was seized from this store, the adult bookshop on Cedar Rapids' southwest side. Owner Ryan Montag would not appear on camera, but says he feels all the videotapes in his store have literary value and do not violate the law. Denver Dillard admits the guidelines are vague.
It is difficult to deal with a vague standard, but the legislature has presented us with this. It is a law that we're sworn to enforce, so we have to do the best we can.
In the meantime, Dillard says charges have not been filed against the 2 video stores, but could be filed against any store in the future where similar videos are found. The burden, he says, is on the store owner to make sure this doesn't happen. Amy Johnson, Channel 2 News in Cedar Rapids.
And we'll hear from Maggie Jensen about this story when we come back in just a moment.
The story of subsequent fallout from James T-Bone Taylor's prison time continues in the news tonight. Taylor, the man who killed 2 Waterloo police officers in 1981, told the Des Moines Register that he was now serving what he called sweet prison time in Connecticut. But as Mike Tank reports, Governor Branstad says Taylor is lying.
It's a total lie, but he did.
It's basically a lie. That's what Waterloo Police Chief Bernard Kierson told his officers about the special privileges that were allegedly given to James T-Bone Taylor, the man convicted of shooting to death Waterloo police officers Wayne Rice and Michael Hoeing in 1981.
Actuality, Taylor's doing hard time in a maximum custody facility. He does not have conjugal visits. In fact, he's not even married. So,
Kierson says Governor Branstad's office investigated Taylor's treatment in a Connecticut prison after a newspaper published a report about Taylor. In that article, Taylor, who was sent to Connecticut after gang involvement in the Iowa State Penitentiary, said that he had a good job, a television, a radio, and that he was allowed to have sexual visits with his wife. But a Branstad spokesman now says Taylor is not even married, and he is treated as a convicted murderer. The new information makes friends of the 2 slain officers feel very good that the truth has finally come out.
Now we found out the truth, and it's kind of backfired on him, I think.
The startling information about T-Bone Taylor has taken many people by surprise, and the overwhelming reaction is relief and satisfaction.
He should not be granted anything. He should pay for what he did.
Anybody that would do that doesn't deserve that kind of treatment.
You're relieved?
Much.
Kierson says that while the Taylor story rekindles the terrible murders of the 2 officers, it's also a good time for citizens to remember the important and dangerous job that police officers perform for everyone. Mike Tank, Channel 2 News, Waterloo.
Taylor killed the officers Wayne Rice and Michael Hoeing 9 years ago as they responded to a noise complaint.
President Bush was in Des Moines this morning where he met with pork producers and held a fundraising breakfast for Governor Terry Branstad. Doug Fratelloni was in the Capitol with the president and has our story.
In its simplest form, the president's journey to Iowa was a matter of pork and beans. The state and national pork producer organizations benefited from a rare private presidential meeting in which Mr. Bush was repaid in pork rinds, and Governor Branstad added about 100,000 beans to his re-election campaign pot from a fundraising breakfast. At $150 a plate, the roomful of Republicans expected Bush's best.
Whenever I'm here, I take the advice of a great Iowan, the Duke, John Wayne, who once said, talk low, talk slow, and don't say too much.
Besides boosting Branstad, the president had plenty to say this day, most of it concerning his just-completed summit with Mikhail Gorbachev. Bush says an end to the Cold War would be great news to Iowa's farm economy.
But despite all our progress, let's be candid. We cannot lose sight of the significant differences that remain between our two countries.
Namely Lithuania and a united Germany, two roadblocks that may take some time to be cleared. The president's visit also drew pro-choice and anti-abortion protesters, but compared to rallies held last December when Mr. Bush stumped for Senate hopeful Tom Talkie, today's action was tame. In all, this seemed to be a breeze of a visit for the commander-in-chief in a state which historically hasn't been too kind to him at the polls.
The last time I was at this particular hotel was the night before the Iowa caucuses. And today I've come back to this great state to let Terry in on my secret formula for political success. But I'm confident he'll win Iowa anyway. So.
When the president was well on his way to Omaha, Branstad was asked if he expected Mr. Bush to make another campaign appearance on his behalf before November. Branstad said that was a bit unlikely, but he added that don't count out a second Bush appearance for Tom Talkie's senatorial campaign before the election. Doug Fratelloni, Channel 2 News, Des Moines.
Now let's go to our top story again tonight. Maggie Jensen and her story on the undercover investigation into XXX videos in Cedar Rapids.
In early May, we sent Channel 2 News photographer Greg Hapgood into several video stores in Cedar Rapids wearing a wireless microphone. We videotaped his attempts to rent sexually explicit movies, or as he called them, stag films. Considering there's a law intended to prevent the sale or rental of these movies, he had surprising success.
Do you have any adult movies, like for stag?
Yeah, we do. Right over here along the wall.
Do you have any, like adult movies, like stag movies?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Down at the end of the counter in the books.
You guys got any, like, adult movies, like stag films? Oh, in this whole room? Okay. Do you guys rent a lot of adult movies?
Quite a few.
Quite a few.
We're not censors.
This man owns a chain of Eastern Iowa video stores. He rents sexually explicit videos in his stores because he says there is a demand for them among his clientele. He says he does not want to be the one to decide what his customers should not be allowed to watch.
You know, when you get into censorship, where do you stop? R-rated movies, PG-13. I mean, where do you draw the line?
XXX videos per se are not illegal.
Dillard says the state's obscenity law is difficult to enforce because it is vaguely worded. He says charges filed under the law must meet 4 criteria: that the vendor knowingly sold or rented sexually explicit material, that it depicts patently offensive acts, that the acts violate a statewide contemporary community standard, and that it lacks scientific, political, or artistic value.
You could have 3 of those elements and not have the other one. You might have something that's political satire, may be terribly offensive. It may appeal to the period interest, but if it has political value, it's still not illegal.
This store in southeast Cedar Rapids does not rent adult videos. The owner says it's not so much because there's a law against it, but because he doesn't want to offend his family-oriented clientele.
Employees felt strongly against him, and I've tried to list to my employees, and it's really been to our advantage that we don't.
Dillard says he hopes more video stores follow Dorfeld's lead. He says he really doesn't enjoy watching several adult movies back-to-back.
It gets very old.
Maggie Jensen, Channel 2 News, Cedar Rapids.
Prosecutions under the state's obscenity law are rare. There was one recently in Pottawatomie County where the defendants won that case.
And coming up, a look at a unique piece of Iowa history.
A mansion at Stone City, then and now.
Hall's Super Store-Wide Sale is going on right now. Designer looks at savings of up to 60% store-wide. Hall, 1618 Collins Road Northeast in Cedar Rapids.
In some areas outside the city, there's concern about nitrates and pesticides. The Culligan AquaClear reverse osmosis drinking water system is NSF certified for the reduction of nitrates. I call it an insurance policy, and what it gives you is good, top-quality drinking water. When I hear people say, "Hey, Culligan man, I like that. That identifies me. You know, that's what I am. That's what I do. I'm a Culligan man."
If you see a news story, call the Channel 2 News line at 393-2222.
The art colony that Grant Wood started here in 1932 was largely housed in this old mansion, which burned down more than 25 years ago.
Sandy Riesgraf spent some time today with a man who used to spend his summers living right here, a man who is also probably known as the most important literary figure in Iowa history. Here's her story on the mansion and Paul Engel.
25 summers at what was called the Greenstone Mansion. It was a home that Paul, his wife, and daughters came to love.
The family loved it. The girls couldn't wait to school to be out, and we went to Stone City. I went back and forth to Iowa City for the Writers' Workshop, which I directed for 25 years. The girls, you know, they began going when they were tiny. In fact, the younger daughter, I remember the first summer she went, we took her in a market basket. And it was from the front yard, just slightly into the pasture, that Grant Wood painted his famous painting of Stone City.
A cornerstone on the house marks the year it was built, 1883. Inside the cornerstone, Engel says,
there are alleged to be plans of the house, Green family information, and a bottle of Irish whiskey. I suspect that's not true, because if there had been a bottle of Irish whiskey there, knowing the thirst of the Stone City people, that cornerstone would long since have been gotten out with crowbars.
In 1963, Engel's piece of paradise in Stone City was destroyed by fire. He's only been back to see it once since then.
Those marvelous stone walls, when it caught fire, acted like a chimney. The heat was incredible. And one of life's less pleasant moments is standing out in the yard, watching 20 years of your writing go up in smoke. A book which will never be published, it's gone. A lot of letters from Robert Frost. The whole heart of much of my life was lost. We were all so attached to it that we can hardly bear to see it in its ruined condition.
A fascinating story, and Sandy's going to continue her talk with Engel tomorrow at 6 on our newscast.
And all of our trips out here, I wasn't even aware that this was up here.
I had seen it a couple years ago, but I'd forgotten all the history behind it. It is fascinating.
It is. And the weather out here is just gorgeous. The sun has come out since we've arrived here in Roger Evans. I hope you can continue this through the festival on Sunday.
Well, I'm going to do my best. In fact, we do finally have some sunshine here in eastern Iowa and here in Stone City as well. Our temperature now holding in the lower 70s. In fact, the current reading at 71 degrees. Still a few rain showers around the region, but quite nice outside. A wind southwest at 8 miles per hour. The barometer now 29.91 and rising. The dew point at 62 above, so still some humidity around this afternoon. Overnight, some very heavy rains fell across some portions of eastern Iowa, including over an inch here in Cedar Rapids and Iowa City, and almost 3 inches in the Amanas, as well as an inch and a half at Brooklyn and also Iowa City over the past 24 hours. Here's what's happening now as far as the three-dimensional satellite view. Right from last night through the daytime hours today, large thunderstorm complexes again developing and moving over us and south of us overnight. 12 tornadoes occurred over Kansas overnight, as well as more severe weather this afternoon. In fact, there are 12 severe weather watches in effect throughout much of the nation for today. As far as what's going on now, you can see portions of the southern states still experiencing some severe weather. And taking a look at a radar summary from Waterloo shows a few showers over the extreme eastern counties. Those are moving out, and that's the last rain we'll see now for about the next 3 to 4 days. As far as the satellite view for the rest of the Midwest, you can see some very heavy thunderstorms again down in Missouri and more showers and storms off to the east coast. The current weather map showing all of that activity centered along a stationary front, but high pressure now starting to wedge in between there will bring sunshine throughout much of the rest of the weekend and warmer temperatures by next week as well. As far as the radar summary, well, we have a lot of severe weather still occurring, about 5 weather watches in effect till later on tonight. Low temperatures, though, fairly nice in the 50s and the 60s, and here's how the weather map will shape up by tomorrow morning. We'll have clear skies for the most part with sunshine and all the bad activity as far as the showers and storms well off to our east by tomorrow morning. We'll tell you all about the forecast coming up after this.
takes about an hour to have lunch, do some shopping, or get a new pair of glasses at Eye Care One. For that matter, you could enjoy both those activities while your new glasses are being made. While you're reminiscing, our technicians will be processing your prescription in our state-of-the-art lab. While you're hunting for bargains, we'll be polishing and testing. So when you're ready, your glasses will be ready too, in only about an hour. Treat yourself to some quality time and a quality pair of glasses today at Eye Care One.
It's official. Bob Zimmerman is first on First Avenue, first in Cedar Rapids, and first in Lynn County. To celebrate, we've slashed prices on every new Mitsubishi. Prices from $59.90. Mighty Max trucks, $79.90. Award-winning Galant, $99.90. Even Sporty Eclipse, $11,990. Plus, buy a Mitsubishi, get a Mitsubishi. TV, VCR, or CD with any car or truck. See us today.
And you'll know why we're first on First Avenue. Bob Zimmerman, Ford, BMW.
Right now, there's just one way you can track down a juicy ribeye steak for less than you can at Bonanza. Bonanza's Ribeye Steak Special, just 99 cents when you buy our Fresh-Tastics food bar. So hurry in and avoid the stampede. The 99-cent ribeye, only for a limited time, only at Bonanza.
Well, as far as the next few days are concerned, you're going to need to start making some ice, and behind me is an ice wagon. Keep that in mind for the rest of the weekend. Temperatures will be warming up into the 90s. The forecast for the rest of tonight, then, calls for a low of 55 to 60, a few showers or thunder showers in the east becoming partly cloudy, and already it has a low of 55 to 60, west to northwesterly winds at 10 to 15. Tomorrow, then, mostly sunny and warm, a high of 80 to 85. Tomorrow night, clear skies, some fog possible late with the light winds, a low of 53 to 58. For Sunday, some morning fog possible, otherwise mostly sunny and pleasant, high of 80 to 85. The extended outlook calls for a chance of some scattered thunderstorms each day, only a 20% chance, with temperatures warming up into the lower 90s. So go back to the refrigerator and start making that ice now, Kristen and Pete.
And on the side of that truck, I see that it says 10 cents for a whole block. It's a pretty good bargain.
Times have changed. It sounds good for Sunday up here.
Yeah.
Now for a look at how some eastern Iowa stocks of interest closed the week. ADM was down 1.5. Banks of Iowa dropped 5/8. Deere fell 1 7/8. Eastman Kodak was up 2 1/4. General Mills down 2 1/8. IBP dropped 1/2. IE Industries rose 1/4. Iowa Illinois Gas and Electric closed the day down 1/8. Of course, the stock split that was announced last month took effect this week. Maytag gained 2 5/8. Norwest fell 3/8. Quaker Oats up 1 7/8. Raytheon rose 2 1/4. Rockwell gained 1/4. Telecom USA up 1/2, and Winnebago rose 1/4.
The Channel 2 News continues now with a look at today's agribusiness report. For the latest weather information, 24 hours a day, call the WMT Weather Line at 393-0500.
If you shower with soap, this is what you're missing.
Zestfully clean.
Never before. Never with soap.
Zestfully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
Soap leaves a sticky film behind, but Zest rinses clean away. Zest deodorant lathers you clean, then rinses you cleaner. With Zest, you feel cleaner because you are cleaner.
Zestfully, zestfully, zestfully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
Hi, everybody. I'm John Bear. Don't let your summer be a bummer. Come on out to the KGN Eevees Night at the Ballpark, Wednesday, June 27th, right here at Vets Memorial Stadium. The Reds will take on the Kenosha Twins. We'll have a live sportscast, and you also can stop by and see the Rawlings Sports Caravan also. So stop by all Eevees locations and KGN Channel 2. Pick up your free tickets. So join us at the ballpark Wednesday, June 27th, and help us cheer on the Cedar Rapids Reds.
Well, we're supposed to be doing sports right now. I haven't seen John. I just saw him out at the ballpark there, but...
He came in after me. I know he's here.
John?
I'm here, Pete and Kristen, in the antechamber of the Green Mansion, a very historical place. We're happy to be coming to you, of course, from Stone City as part of the Grant Wood Art Festival, which gets underway, of course, in Stone City on Sunday. And I wonder what kind of painting Grant Wood would have drawn if he had painted a Japanese football team playing in America. Perhaps it would have looked something like this as the MyCal Bears from Tokyo are learning football Hawkeye style for a week in Iowa City. As you'll see, the language barrier is something to overcome, but still Hayden is happy to be a part of it.
Him, you're here. Don't worry about him.
Nietzsche Corporation, that's the reason they sent them over here, is learn how to play American football, and I think this is the only Japanese team in America that has come to a college football camp.
More on the Japanese football team in Iowa City on Monday. And more news from Iowa City. I had a chance to meet new Iowa assistant basketball coach Rich Walker. You'll get a chance to meet him right now. And the first thing Coach Walker made plain is he doesn't see himself as the next Rudy Washington.
I've been called a lot of things, but never the new Rudy Washington. No, I can only be Rich Walker.
Coach Walker began the Florida International program from ground zero and said he even had to recruit the air to put in the basketball. So recruiting for Iowa will be a breeze.
It'll be easy for Rich Walker to recruit at the University of Iowa in terms of we've got excellent kids, we've got great tradition. People can cut on the NBA games and see B.J. Armstrong, or they can see the Hanson kid.
Coach knows there's pressure at Iowa, but he welcomes it.
And I'm sure there's a microscope here, but I think the practical reality is that our staff, Coach Davis, who is just a class individual, and our kids are going to represent the institution the way it needs to be represented, and I just look forward to contributing and being a part of it.
Coach Walker was also a heck of a player also. In 1971, he poured in 29 points for Bowling Green against the Freddie Brown-led Iowa Hawkeyes. More on his relationship with UNI coach Eldon Miller, who he was an assistant for 3 years at Western Michigan, coming up tonight at 10 o'clock. Hey, the Cubs win. The Cubs win. They not only win, they win big. Let's take a look at the highlights. In fact, the Cubbies enjoyed their biggest inning in 3 years. Ryan Sandberg leading off the third with this solo homer off the Phillies' Terry Mulholland. It's his 13th already of the season. The Cubs in the lead 3-1, and the big blow still came in the third. Sean Dunston with a grand slam. The Cubs blowing away Philadelphia, a 9-run third inning. 11-1 Chicago at this point, and they go on to rout Philadelphia. The final from Wrigley today, 15-2, Cubbies over Philadelphia. And it not only was a big day for the Cubs, it also was a big day for an American in Paris, as Andre Agassi moved into the finals of the French Open, his first time he has moved into the finals of a Grand Slam event with a 4-set semifinal victory over Sweden's Jonas Svensson. Agassi, only 20 years old, will make his final appearance against 30-year-old Andres Gomez of Ecuador, a straight-set winner today over Thomas Muster of Austria. We're going to wind up sports from Stone City here, and we'll send it back to Pete and Kristen.
Thanks a lot, John. Well, as you saw earlier in Roger's weather forecast, there are ice wagons here on the grounds, and we'll tell you why right after this.
It's official. Bob Zimmerman is first on First Avenue, first in Cedar Rapids, and first in Lynn County. To celebrate, we've slashed prices on everything. New cars from $56.90, $116 a month. Even Rangers, $69.90, up to $1,500 cash. Everything is specially tagged. Tempo, Taurus, Thunderbird, even the all-new 1991 Escort. Even 100 used from $78 a month. See us today.
And you'll know why we're first on First Avenue. Bob Zimmerman, Ford BMW.
Share the fun of America's #1 box office hit.
Pretty woman, walking down the street. Pretty woman, come back to me.
Richard Gere, Julia Roberts, Pretty Woman, rated R. See it now. And on sale at participating theaters. Be sure to buy your limited edition Dick Tracy t-shirt. It's the ticket that guarantees you a seat for a special midnight screening June 14th.
Okay, boys, let's go.
Dick Tracy, rated PG. Check newspapers for participating theaters. And Pretty Woman, now playing.
You know, it's real easy to find Stone City out here if you come out on Sunday, so that can't be an excuse. You can't find it. Stone City, just west of Anamosa. If you're coming up from Cedar Rapids, you come up 151, down from Dubuque, 151. And as Roger says, it should be a great day, so no excuses to come to the Grant Wood Art Festival on Sunday. And to find out more about what will be happening here, let's go to Kristen.
Thanks a lot, Pete. Well, I'm now sitting on the steps of the mansion that we've been talking about all half hour, and surprisingly enough, they are sturdy enough to support two of us, as a matter of fact. And with me now is Erwin Lowe, and he's an historian and organizer of the event, and I want to talk a little bit about the ice wagons. First of all, what history do they have? Why are they a part of the festival?
Well, during the art colony in 1933, they didn't have enough room to lodge the students that were enrolled here, so they brought 14 of these ice wagons out from Cedar Rapids, from the Hubbard Ice Company, and they used those as campers at that time, and they painted and decorated them up to suit each of their own what they wanted.
And I understand Grant Wood actually had one painted for him, too.
Yes, Grant Wood painted a wagon for himself. He had a wagon that he painted up.
So are these the originals, or what happened to those?
No, the original ice wagons were taken off from the running gears and placed on the ground down by the barn, and they were painted white, and they were used to house chickens. And Grant Wood's wagon turned up to be a chicken coop.
Amazing. I wish we could find one of those coops now. Let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about the festival itself. What are some activities that are going on this year?
Well, there'll be about 80 artists exhibiting their arts and crafts around the barn. We have some originals of Grant Wood's that will be displayed at the church. We have bus tours of the area. We'll have 10 school buses giving continuous tours of the area. We'll have a quilt show at the Gothic building. Then we'll have a movie of Grant Wood's life and his paintings at the schoolhouse.
Well, it sounds like there are a lot of things going on, and it sounds like it's going to be a great day, according to Roger, anyway, and that's Sunday starting at 10 o'clock. And we'll see you again tonight at 10.